All right. So I am here with, is it Andie or Andrea? What do you go by?
Andie.
Okay. I'm here with Andie, and she is a mom of five, right?
Yep.
OMG. She has successfully transitioned into completely working online, and they're actually launching some super fun family plans that we're going to get into. So first, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself right now? I just gave like the two highlights, but paint for me kind of the picture of what you're all about, what your life is like.
Yeah. Well, I've lived in the same place for 15 years. My husband and I got married 15 years ago and moved to Minneapolis
Oh,
because I heard it was a good place to live.
I like that. You guys are adventurous.
We are adventurous. And then this has been a real establishing place for us. And we've had 5 kids through birth and adoption since that
Oh, I
time.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so 3 of our kids came through adoption and 2 of them have special needs. So
Wow, you got your hands full.
yes, we have a really busy family. I'm an artist. I like to
What kind of
paint.
art do you do? Oh, painting. Cool.
Yeah, painting, and I like photography too. But I'm not, I have like the eye for photography, but I don't have the technical skills for photography. So,
Yeah, you just enjoy it. I understand.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so I had been a stay-at-home mom for 15 years pretty much because a couple of my kids have special needs. I got a part-time income through sort of doing their care. Like the state said you could hire somebody or I could hire myself to do their care. And so I hired myself to do their care. So I had a part-time job, but we knew we wanted to move abroad. And so that wouldn't be available to me. And that's where I thought it would be really nice to have a flexible option for part-time work.
Got it. That makes sense. And why do you guys want to move abroad? Like, where does that interest come from?
For me, it's been a like 20-year dream.
Wow.
And yeah, I just, there hasn't been open doors for it. And we just decided it was time to just go for it. We travel a lot as a family. So we have traveled to Egypt and South Africa and China and
Wow. With
a lot
all
of
5 of your kids.
yeah, with all 5 kids. We
That's
downsized
amazing.
a few years ago from like a 5-bedroom house in the States to a townhouse that was significantly smaller, less bedrooms, etc., so we could travel more. So that's a big priority of ours anyway, but we want to just like go ahead and make the jump.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's so
yeah.
exciting. So you decided that, so obviously this answers my next question was you wanted a job that was location independent, but you wanted that ever before being a virtual assistant. Like you knew that you wanted to be location independent for a while, right?
Yeah, and I'm plugged into a lot of just travel-y people, podcasts, things like that. So I was familiar with the virtual assistant idea, but I don't necessarily consider myself like really administrative or I am because I manage a household of 7 people, but like I wouldn't peg my personality as like a really organized administrative person. So I guess I just never had really thought about it until I saw that you were doing the course, and I was like, I could do this, you know, this might be a good fit for me. So I just never known how to even pursue being a virtual assistant, even though I knew that it existed in theory.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get too much more into that, I want to ask you one more question about the travel piece of it. Why is travel important to you guys? You said it was important to you. You downsized. Like, why is it important?
Travel is important to us because we value experiences over things. That's been something that having a bunch of kids, we always joke about like we need a sustainable model for like we're not into giant birthday parties, a zillion gifts at Christmas. I mean, it's just impossible to keep up with that with 5 kids.
Right.
Like travel and experiences is something that we even the bad memories become like hilarious stories and like shake your head, you know, and then the good memories are just really sweet. And we wanted something that our kids could take with them more than stuff, like that they could take with them memories, and then we just enjoy it ourselves. It's just really life-giving, especially for me. And since I have a pretty intense mothering career, I really wanted to spend that time like refreshing in something that the kids could enjoy, but also that like I'm sort of my best self when I'm traveling. So that was important to me. Yeah.
I get it. Interesting. I think that a lot of moms and families think that because they only travel once or twice a year, and because the kid, or not at all, and then they go once and it's a disaster because the kids are a mess and they've never done it and they're blah. So they don't get that it can actually be a really, like you said, life-giving experience when you've like gotten it sorted, you're organized, you're totally switched off, and you're not worried that like, we're only at Disneyland for 3 days, we're going to enjoy every second of it.
Yeah.
It's like a totally different experience. It's like we're all turned off of gadgets, we're all enjoying our time together, and like even if something goes wrong, we don't even care. We're like, okay, we'll just go on to the next thing. Like it's totally different from I think what people think when they're like planning this road trip with the kids and
Yes. I think we have to travel really well. I don't do a good job of it always, but we really do better when we travel slow, you know, and just like one thing a day, or maybe no things today.
I know. I had to learn that too because I'm an extra like, let's do 5 things. And the boys are like, just maybe 1 or 0.
Right. And so like learning how to relax, and have a pace that everybody can enjoy it is a learning curve. Yeah.
Good for you guys. Cool. That's interesting. So besides wanting to travel, let's talk a little bit more about why you were having issues with more of like a traditional job or like even a part-time admin type of job. Like why did you choose not to go down that path, or why was that not working?
So I tend to be quite the free spirit, as you might have guessed. So, so from that perspective, I just couldn't really envision myself in an office job, going the same place every day, the same time. Like that's really stressful and confining for me. Plus, with 5 kids, like there is no way I would even make it to a job every day, you know, like at the same time. Like I would be so stressed out. So, you know, even there's always somebody getting sick, or, you know, I'm having to run to school and pick somebody up, or there's a doctor's appointment or whatever. And so just logistically with a large family, it just seemed impossible. And then with my personality, it seemed impossible that like traditional go out, get a part-time job, get paid for it, just didn't seem like it would be a fit for me.
Okay, good to know. So you didn't have a job before, you just went straight into being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, I mean, I worked like at a coffee shop. I was going to teach English as a second language. That was my training, but then I became pregnant with my daughter shortly after we got married. So yeah, I mean, I never had like a office job or a traditional job really of any sort. I worked with AmeriCorps, which is like the domestic version of Peace Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah, to pay back some loans, the college loans. So do that. So yeah, I had a very untraditional type of after college time anyway. I did go to college, and then even a little bit of grad school, and then we just started our family. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's exciting. So you were talking about you never felt like you could do the online work thing because you didn't feel like you had relevant experience, and that you had a bunch of questions before doing the virtual assistant type thing. What were some of those questions? What were some of those hesitancies? Let's dig into that a little bit more.
Okay, so like, do I even know what to do this job? Like, do I have familiarity with the types of things? What does a virtual assistant even do? Like, I knew really nothing now that I think about it. Like I just didn't know even like the routes that you can take as a virtual assistant. I wasn't in the space of realizing like I'm a smart person and I'm a good worker, so probably I can figure this out.
Like your mindset wasn't there.
Right, it wasn't there. And then like now that I've been doing it, I'm like, oh, it's not really about knowing it all. It's about being willing to be trained, being able to be flexible, to be willing to grow, to be willing to ask questions. And I just didn't know any of that. It just seemed like I needed to be a really organized, I guess what I thought is like, I need to be a really organized person and really good at technology. Like, I guess that's what I thought, you know?
I think a lot of people think that. Yeah. Keep going. And then so when you got into it, you realized that really you just need to be able to figure stuff out and that you can learn whatever you need to know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, both through your course and then through sort of just like trial by fire, right? Like doing it, just realizing, oh, well, maybe I know WordPress, but she has Squarespace. So now I have to figure out, like there's just always a learning curve. And so that's been something that's been encouraging. Like for me in the virtual assistant journey, I've realized like I have good character. I'm a trustworthy person. And so that's what makes me a good VA. And that's why people want to hire me, not like having the perfect skill set right now.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of the people that you work with, it sounds like you started working with an online fitness trainer. Tell us about how you were able to acquire that client.
Yeah. So I had worked with her as my trainer a couple of times over the last few years, and we just really hit it off. The way that she does her training, you have like video calls, like 15-minute video call check-ins to see like how your plan is going, ask questions, etc. And so we had sort of some FaceTime together. We had a good relationship, so much so that I went back to her when I sort of needed like a refresh and then also like a different approach based on some mental health things that were going on with me, like, and I didn't want to go to the gym, like, so I had come to her at different parts of my fitness journey and had just been really open with her. And so we had hit it off, and I was working with her when I learned about your course, and I just was talking with her in one of our meetings, and I said, hey, I'm doing a VA training. If you ever need a VA, let me know. Like really casually. And she was
what
like,
made you feel confident enough to even say that? Like, did you just...
It was just, I really shared it in a, I have a relationship with you. This is what's going on in my life. I'm excited about this. And so I feel like that's a really natural way to share with people in a not salesy way at all. It didn't even like, it did not, there was zero pressure on my side. It felt not salesy. I was just like, hey, just to let you know, haha, I like you. It would be fun to work together, And she was like, yes, I've been looking for a VA. It's one of my goals for Q1.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, so it was like perfect timing. And I know that was really special, but I do feel like, I did just, after that worked so well, I just sort of threw it out to people I knew who might need a VA. And I didn't have another person, but that worked fine because she needed a lot of hours. So, yeah.
So how many hours did it work out to be?
So I started out with her about a month and a half after I started the course, and I was it's about 15 hours. Her needs really go up and down, which I would imagine is pretty common for entrepreneurs. But so over the summer, I've worked just 5 hours. So that's actually
like
been
a
really
week
nice.
or for the month?
I'm sorry, a week.
Okay.
So 15 hours a week at first. It was up to 20 a couple times during the spring. And then 5 hours a week over the summer. So we've had a really nicely complementary schedules, which I'm really thankful for, because she just hasn't needed me as much. And then the kids have been home for summer. So yeah, it's worked out really well. But I'm expecting like 20 to 30 hours a week in October. So that'll be a lot.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Do you, with your clients, do you have like a base that they're supposed to pay you every month that's like a salary almost? Or do you just invoice them at the end of the month for however many hours and you're cool with that? How do you do it?
Well, this has been a really, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody's story is different. This feels like she was my ideal client and she was my first client. So it was a little tricky figuring out how to do it because I hadn't done billing, whatever. What I wound up doing at first, because I knew I was learning so much, but I knew that I didn't want to stay at like a super intro rate. I just said, hey, I want my rate to be, I wish I'd made it higher now, but I want my rate to be $20 an hour. But for the first 100 hours, I'm going to give you the discount of $15 an hour because I'm really, really learning. And I want to be flexible to be able to learn things, and I want to have it lower pressure. You know what I mean? For realizing that I'm in a learning space. So yeah, so that's what we did. I think so. I'm just about to sign my second client, who's just going to be a 5-hour a week, and I'm trying to figure it out right now what I'm going to do. But I am doing like $30 an hour with her, and then I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do, like getting. Yeah, I'm probably going to have her pay me some upfront, but I don't know what yet.
Okay. How do you feel like, why do you feel like $20 per hour wasn't enough to begin with? And then how did you make that jump up to the 30? Like, what was your thought process there?
Okay. Well, okay. At the time I felt like 20, I mean, I was just sort of basing it on things that I heard through the group and like things that I heard through the training, that if you didn't have any experience, you could do like 12 to 15. And then if you had some experience, like I have a college degree, even though I didn't have direct experience, like 15 to 20. So I was like, I have 5 kids. I need it to be on the upper end of that. But now when I'm looking at the work that I do, the energy it takes me, and sort of wanting to replace my part-time income from before, that's why I wish I'd made it a little bit higher, just because of, I don't think that I want to be working 40 hours to replace that income. So yeah, it's more about that. It's more about our personal finances. And
it's amazing how much of this is personal, right? Versus what, like, well, what's the going rate for this? It's like, doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. And so, I'll probably raise my rates with my first client eventually, but I really want to keep working with her. So it's like this dance, right?
Yeah, of course. Finding somewhere where you guys can meet in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as far as raising my rate, I felt like I had enough. I mean, I had hundreds of hours of experience by the time I raised my rate. So, and I felt like I could really come in and actually like know what was going on. That's why I felt comfortable. Yeah. Starting with that, with the second client. So I've moved pretty slowly adding clients just because of my life and even just summer happening. So like kids being home and traveling and stuff like that.
Okay. What are some things that you do for her and for your other clients? And you can say stuff that 90 Day helped you with, or how did you learn some of the other stuff too? It doesn't have to all be from 90 Day VA. What were the resources that helped you to learn all the kinds of things that you're doing for them? And
Yeah.
what is that stuff?
Yeah. So what I tried to do, because I sort of knew like some of the things she wanted me to help with, I was able to focus in the 90-day VA course on those things, which was really great. So I was able, I mean, I did a lot of picking and choosing because I knew like this is my for sure client and these are the things she'll need me to do. So I do a lot of social media management for her. Going back and like recycling posts that people aren't seeing anymore, you know, just so her content that she's worked hard on is getting used in multiple ways. So like, I mean, I set up her LinkedIn account, so I'm doing posts on there, but then also like I do her Twitter, I manage her Facebook group, and I sometimes like on and off do one of her Instagrams and like replying to people, stuff like that. So I learned a lot about social media management through 90-day VA. And I write her newsletters. So like she gives me like the main things and then I put it all together and do pictures and blah, 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 stuff like that.
Wow.
That's one of the biggest things that's always that I'm doing. And then there's just a really big mixture because as an entrepreneur, she just needs things taken off her plate so that she can really focus on the heart of her business. So, so I sort of do all kinds of things. One thing that I love doing is travel planning.
So you get to do travel planning for her?
Yes.
Ooh.
She brought her mom and aunt and uncle to Italy, which is her favorite country, and I've been there, so I'm familiar with like websites and stuff for planning. So I got to basically take her ideas and then find accommodations and all of this within her budget, just to take it off her plate because she wanted to have a great time. She knew sort of what she was looking for, and then I could just run with it and then give her options. So that was so fun. That's probably my favorite is doing travel planning and like finding really good tours and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really fun and unexpected.
Yeah, that was really neat, especially since it's a passion of mine. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that, and then there's some just like logistical stuff, like billing her clients. What else do I do? Like when people apply for her program, like I sort through the emails and find people who really stick out and seem like a good fit for her coaching programs. So I mean, I'm really involved with like every aspect of her business.
And it seems like it's very sticky. So if she was like going to want to have somebody else, like when it comes time for you to want to raise your rates, she's going to be so open to it because she's like, well, I can't lose her. You know what I mean? Like she's already so embedded into my business, which I think people don't realize that this isn't like a freelance project-based thing. Like you're really interwoven into somebody's business.
Yes. And it's very relational, which I love. I mean, you know, I started out with very professional emails and she's like, you can just send me a WhatsApp, you know? So it's really interesting just figuring out different people, different clients have different communication styles. But yeah, we had that sort of groundwork of like acquaintance, friendship before. And like we're a really good team, I think. And I love supporting her business. I love what her business is about. She also runs health retreats. So I may wind up, so right now I'm just doing her fitness business, but she also has a business partner and they do health retreats around the world, which I want to go on one too.
Yeah, and they need help. So of course.
They do. Yeah.
Amazing.
So I think we both like have verbally just said like, we see this as a long-term partnership. Yeah. So I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So we've heard about you're the mom, you've got the 5 kids, you want to transition out of being the part-time caretaker into this. So what does your average week look like now? Because like, what are you guys doing now? And how does what you're working on look like now? I know you're kind of balancing the two, but we can also look at, you know, where you're wanting to go, like what the plan is that you're getting there.
Okay, so I mean, before I was making a pretty good income. So I'm not matching my income yet. I'm working on matching my income. I will probably be exceeding my income in October, but like it does go up and down. So I'm trying to figure that out. um, yeah, but I have like I think the biggest change is now I have a job I can take with us, and I can grow it and I can scale it as I need to scale it based on our family needs. So like my husband is transitioning careers now too. And so I was like, well, maybe it's good that I'm probably going to be working like 35 hours a week during a couple of months this fall. So so we have income coming in. Like we have moved out of our house. It's been a really weird summer. We've moved out of our house because we had planned on staying there until we like jumped abroad, and then our landlord sold our house. So we've been
Wow.
nomading for the summer. I'm currently in
Sometimes
a,
that's how it works. God or universe, whatever you believe in, is like, it's time to go
yes,
now. Sorry, you had plans,
yes,
but here's what we're doing.
right. I mean, that's like, we are in the middle of it right
Yeah.
now. So like, I leave Minnesota in a week and don't expect to live here again anytime soon.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so it's really crazy. It's like a lot of craziness right now. But my job has been really flexible, which is great. It has been quieter for the summer. I mean, I could have done more work over the summer, but I just didn't want to, so I didn't.
And
Like,
that's an important thing to note, because I think that sometimes people can hear or think that, oh, well, it's not consistent, but like really you can align it with your life. If you want more work,
right.
there's a ton of more work you can go and get. If you want to chill
Mhm.
out because you have a busy summer with your kids, then you just are like, oh, cool, that person dropped off. Great. That aligns with my vacation plans. So I think that's an
Yeah,
important thing to know. It doesn't like, it's not like a failure. Like it's a perk.
right, exactly. Like if I had wanted to go hard for other clients, I could have done that. And I didn't want to start with other clients because of what was going on in our lives. So yeah, so as I look toward fall, like it'll be really consistent with work. So I'll probably be working like 10, 10 hours through September, and then it'll be more like 35 hours through
Wow,
October a
that's a
week.
lot. And you're
So
meeting your income goals by then.
in October, I'll definitely be meeting, like, I'll be more than replacing my monthly income with my part time work. In
Amazing.
September, it'll be less than, yeah. So, um, yeah. So, I mean, I'm doing like, I don't know, I haven't done the math yet, but I'm doing like 5 hours or 6 hours a week in September at $20 an hour, and then 5 hours at $30 an hour, and that's per week. So, yeah, so it's not enough for us to live on as a family, but it is enough to really help our family a lot and take stress off. And
Well, it would be
we are,
really crazy if somebody could feed a family of 7 on working 10 hours a week anyway. So
right.
I don't think that
Yes.
that's like a real expectation
No.
here.
No. Exactly. It's a consistent income, which is super helpful. And actually, we're going to be, so we're leaving Minnesota. We have a couple months in Wisconsin, like Airbnb, and then we got a house sit in Nova Scotia. And
Ooh,
so
fun.
some brave family decided that we were a great family to house sit for 5 months.
5
So
months?
yes, this is
And you
our
get to
first
live
house
rent
sit.
free for 5 months
Yeah.
in beautiful
So I'm
Nova
really
Scotia.
excited. Yes.
And you guys
So
are from
it'll be
Minnesota, so the winter won't bother you.
right. I mean, it actually might be nicer than the winter here.
Right.
We get to have a dog, which like because we travel so much, we haven't had a pet. And so anyway, we're really looking forward to that. That will be sort of our transition time as my husband tries to change a little bit careers to do more remote work and stuff. So anyway,
Very
very
exciting
exciting.
time. All right,
Mm-hmm.
2
Yeah.
last questions we can do quickly.
Okay. Yep.
What is your biggest one piece of advice to other aspiring virtual assistants?
Hmm. Expect to always be learning. Don't ever feel like you need to know it all. to begin, but need to know it all ever. Like there's just so many resources. So I love just being able to be like, oh, nope, I don't know MailChimp, but I will learn it. Just
and have that confidence that you really are, and it's gonna be fine.
Exactly. There are tons of resources. So like you really, as long as you're a person who's willing to work hard and you have good character, that's what you need to be a virtual assistant.
I love that. And do you think that that's the strategy that worked best for you, is like getting your mindset in the spot of like, I'm always just going to be learning and I'm a capable and organized person, so I can do this?
Yes. And I wouldn't even say that I'm always organized, but I'm a capable person. I'm a capable person, and I can be organized when I want to be. So,
and realizing I think that entrepreneurs and business owners just need help, and it doesn't need to be like this perfect shiny
thing. Everybody needs a virtual assistant. There's so much work out there. And so that's really encouraging. And then also just realizing like there is really something to being a trustworthy person. Like they just need somebody they can trust their business with. Like that is the main thing. Like, because you have access to their stuff. So like that's the most important thing about you, is not that you know how to do X, Y, Z, but that you are gonna care for their business.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your insights. I think that a lot of our audience are going to get a lot out of this as well. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and enjoy your guys' travel.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.